First up today, it's rugby and the Women's World Cup kicks off tonight. Let's speak to Emma Louise, who's in Sunderland. What's happening where you are, Emma Louise?
Hi Nina, I'm in Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, and in just a few hours, players from England and the USA will be walking through this tunnel here, ready to kick off the very first game of the tournament on this actual pitch right here. England are the hosts and matches will be in 8 different cities all across the UK. Now, all of the UK nations have made it into the competition, so over the next few weeks we'll be following how England, Wales, Scotland and Ireland are all getting on. This World Cup is breaking records and it hasn't even started yet. Tonight looks like it will be the biggest opening game for a Women's World Cup, and the final in Twickenham is expected to have the biggest crowd of any women's rugby game ever. Now, just in case you don't know much about how rugby works and how the game is played, this is what you need to know. The aim of the game is to score more points than the opposing team through things called tries and kicks. First, the try. This is when you carry the ball over the other team's goal line and touch it down on the ground. This scores you 5 points and earns you a conversion kick. This is a chance to grab 2 extra points by kicking the ball through the big H-shaped goalposts. Usually, players kick the ball off something called a tee, which holds the ball just off the ground. But they can also drop kick it, but more on that later. Another way to score points is with a penalty kick. This is similar to a conversion kick and happens when the opposing team breaks the rules. A successful penalty kick scores 3 points. Also worth 3 points is a drop goal. This can be scored at any time by kicking the ball through the goalposts. But as there's no time to get your kicking tee out in the middle of the play, the ball must touch the ground first before it is kicked. Seems simple enough, but there is one catch. Players cannot pass the ball forwards. You can throw it to your teammates sideways or backwards, but a forward pass is strictly not allowed. You can kick the ball forwards, but all your teammates have to be behind you until the ball leaves your feet. Rugby has lots more laws, and together they make a very physical game that's incredibly reliant on teamwork and communication. There's a few star players to watch out for too. Ireland's Aoife Wafer won Player of the Tournament at this year's Six Nations. It's been a bit touch and go as to whether she'll be okay to play in the World Cup, as she's recently had knee surgery. But her team have said she's been doing really well and should be fighting fit to play. England's winger Ellie Kildung was crowned World Player of the Year in 2024. She was crucial in helping the Red Roses, as England are called, win the Six Nations in 2024, and then again earlier this year. She injured her hamstring and couldn't play the deciding match, but is ready and raring to go for the World Cup. Wales's Jasmine Joyce Butchers was the first rugby player to represent Team GB at 3 Olympic Games, and she'll be going into the World Cup having played more than 50 times for her country. And finally, Scotland's Jade Conkle, who works as a firefighter in London when she's not on the pitch, has played more than 70 times for her country, and after an ankle injury led her to miss last year's Six Nations, she'll be eager to make her mark at the World Cup. There are plenty of other incredible rugby players to keep an eye out for, so you'll just have to keep watching our coverage on Newsround to find out all about them. Now let's focus on tonight. England and the USA are 2 big teams, so this should be a really exciting game. Team USA have lots of impressive players on their squad, including Ilona Maher, who you might know as she's pretty big on social media. But England are definitely the team to beat. The Red Roses won the Six Nations earlier this year, haven't lost any games at all for 3 years, and are the favourites to lift the World Cup trophy. Here's England centre Tatiana Hurd on how they're feeling.
Well, I'd say there's always a bit of pressure, but more so because we put that on ourselves. We want to perform, we want to do well, no matter whether we're on the training field or having a game or it's the kick-off of the World Cup. Like, you want to be performing, and I think that as individuals, that's why we've excelled up until this point. So yeah, like, obviously we want to go out and win it, but there's so many steps that have got to be taken, and the most important thing is that we're performing, and obviously pressure comes with that, but it's a bit of a privilege, isn't it, as they say.
Well, we'll see what happens later on tonight. You can catch all the action on the BBC, and I'll be back tomorrow morning with the updates.